You know, in today's world, data is absolutely everywhere. But here's the real question. Is it all telling you the same story? So often, your sales data lives in one system, your warehouse data lives in another, and trying to get them to talk to each other to get a single unified view, well, it's almost impossible. So in this explainer, we're going to roll up our sleeves and architect a solution to fix that exact problem, bringing together data from Oracle Supply Chain Management and its warehouse management system into one super powerful, high-performance data lake.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to unpack the core problem. Why is this so hard? Then we'll map out the entire solution. We'll follow the two different data streams, see how a smart tool orchestrates the whole thing, and then we'll uncover the secret sauce that makes it all incredibly fast. And finally, we'll ask that big question. Is it better to build this yourself or buy something off the shelf? Let's get into it.
Okay, first things first, let's really get to the heart of the business challenge we're trying to solve here. Why do we even need this architecture in the first place? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental mismatch in your data.
I bet this question sounds familiar to a lot of you working in big companies. You've got your official sales records, the book of truth, sitting on one side, and then you have the reality of what's actually happening on the warehouse floor, the physical world, on the other. When these two stories don't line up, you've got a huge problem. You can't make good decisions because you don't have a single, reliable source of truth.
So let's break it down. On one hand, inside Oracle's Fusion SCM and financials, you have the virtual world. These are the official sales orders, the invoices. This is your company's book of record. But then, over in the warehouse management system, or WMS, you have the physical world, what's actually getting picked off a shelf, packed in a box, and shipped out the door. It's that gap between the official record and the ground reality that we are going to close.
So how do we build a bridge across that gap? Let's pull up the architectural blueprint that's designed to bring these two worlds together and give us that complete, holistic view of the business we're all after. Our solution is actually a really clean three-phase process. It's pretty straightforward. First, we extract the data, basically pulling it from its different sources. Next, we orchestrate the whole process. Think of it like a conductor leading an orchestra, making sure everything happens at the right time. And finally, we load it all into its final destination, the Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse.
Now, to make all this magic happen, we've got a specific toolkit of powerful Oracle technologies. We're going to use something called BICC and some standard extracts to get the data out. Then, to manage the whole show, we'll use Oracle Integration Cloud, or OIC. Our central meeting point for all the data will be OCI Object Storage. And then the final home for all our analytics is the Autonomous Data Warehouse. Every single piece here plays a critical role.
And here is a really crucial point. Before any of that data gets loaded into the warehouse, it first lands in one central spot, a single OCI Object Storage bucket. This step is what creates our unified cloud data lake. It is the absolute foundation of this entire architecture.
Okay, with that foundation in place, let's actually trace the journey of our data. We've got two different streams coming from two completely different systems, and each one starts its journey off just a little differently.
So on the left, we've got our Fusion SCM and financials data. It gets pulled using that BIC tool we mentioned. Now this is awesome because we can configure BIC to drop compressed zip files right into our central OCI Object Storage bucket. Perfect. But on the right, our WMS Cloud data uses standard extracts, and those just send plain old CSV files to a totally separate SFTP server. And that initial difference is exactly why we need a smart orchestration layer to handle everything.
And that brings us to our first major strategic move. To create that unified data lake we've been talking about, the very first thing we have to do is get that WMS data off that lonely SFTP server and move it into the same OCI Object Storage bucket as our SCM data. Everything has to be in one place before the loading can begin. Now, we're not just doing this to be neat and tidy. This one move has huge benefits. The big one is performance. The Autonomous Data Warehouse is built to suck in data from object storage at mind-blowing speeds. It also creates that true unified data lake, which makes all your security, auditing, and data policies way simpler to manage. And maybe most importantly, it decouples the process. Think about it. If that SFTP server goes down for maintenance, who cares? Our data is already safe and sound in our bucket, ready to be loaded.
Okay, so picture this. All of our data from both systems is now sitting in one central storage bucket. But how do we get it from there into the warehouse in an intelligent way? Well, this is where our conductor steps onto the stage, Oracle Integration Cloud.
Now for that SCM data stream, BICC gives us something incredibly useful, a manifest file. The best way to think about this is like a super detailed packing list. It tells OIC exactly which data objects got extracted and which zip file each one is sitting in. This file is basically the instruction manual that OIC is going to use to process all that SCM data.
And here's where the beauty of automation really shines. OIC follows this exact logic every single time, like clockwork. It finds that packing list, it reads it, and then it just loops through every single item. It knows how to map the data to the correct table in the warehouse. It makes the call to load it, and then it cleans up after itself by archiving the file. It's a perfect, repeatable, hands-off process.
Now, for the WMS data, OIC follows an almost identical playbook. The only difference is that very first step. It has to go out and grab the files from the SFTP server first and move them into our central bucket. But after that, the logic is exactly the same. Loop through the files, map them to the right tables, call that same loading API, and then archive them. This kind of consistency is what makes the whole system so powerful and reliable.
So we've mentioned a few times that OIC calls this bulk load API. But what is that exactly? Because while OIC is our brilliant conductor, the real performance powerhouse of this architecture, the secret to its incredible speed, is the loading engine that's built right into the autonomous data warehouse itself.
And here it is. The secret sauce is a procedure called DBMS_cloud_copy data. This completely changes the game. Instead of OIC having to painstakingly push millions of rows of data over the network, which is slow and clunky, it does something way smarter. It simply sends one tiny command to the database that says, hey, you go pull the data directly from object storage yourself.
And this right here just shows you why that pull method is so powerful. You get extreme performance because the database itself, the ADW, uses all of its parallel processing muscle to just inhale the data. It also frees up OIC to be a lightweight traffic cop, not a heavy-duty data-moving truck. And get this, the database can even unzip the files on its own, which is just fantastic. Plus, you get all this great built-in error handling and you use native secure cloud credentials. It is just a smarter, faster, and more robust way to load your data.
Okay, so we have just designed this incredibly powerful, custom-built data pipeline. But you might be thinking, well, how does this compare to an out-of-the-box solution, a buy solution like Oracle Fusion Data Intelligence, or FDI? That's a great question. Let's take a look. The choice here really boils down to a classic trade-off, control versus convenience. An FDI solution is pretty much plug and play. It's managed by Oracle, so it's a low initial effort. Our custom solution, on the other hand, definitely requires more development work up front. But, and this is a big but, it gives you total control over your data structures. And for our specific goal here, that's a massive advantage. Integrating that WMS data is a native part of our design from the get-go, whereas it would require a bunch of custom work on top of a standardized FDI model.
And what is the result of all this clever architecture? Well, it's incredible speed and automation. This entire pipeline, from extraction across both of those systems, all the way to having fresh data ready for analytics in the warehouse, can be scheduled to run incrementally every 90 minutes. Just think about that. That means your business users have a constantly refreshed, unified view of the entire operation. And really, that's the whole point. This kind of custom approach is built for what you could call the extensible enterprise. It gives you the power to build a data foundation that fits your unique business processes, like integrating that specialized logistics data from WMS. You're not trying to cram your business into a pre-built box. You're building the exact box that fits your business perfectly. So the final question to leave you with is this. What does your enterprise truly need? Do you need a pre-built highway that gets you to a standard destination quickly? Or do you need the keys to build your own road network, giving you the power and the flexibility to connect any data source and chart your own course?